Hello, everyone. It is Pat, and this is our this is the reading for November that I had promised you. Now, today's the 8th of November that I'm filming this, so we're already kind of a week into this month. But anyways, we can certainly take a look at. I've pulled some cards for the rest of the month to see what the energies are and to see what's playing out. Okay. So we've had an interesting first week of this month. There was a lot of tension around the election that took place, which is now done. It's decided, and things are moving forward in a new direction. And a lot of the reading I did for last week, when I think back to the cards that we got, was very pertinent. I could tell from my read on what I was getting intuitively, that it had a lot to do with the election, although I may or may not have expressed it that way, but I was trying to keep it more broad in general. But interestingly, as I shuffled the cards and I was asking for the month of November, who's overseeing us, from the Archangel Oracle card deck that I always pull from, the same archangels spilled out as for last week, which is Shemuel with Beloved One and Raguel with Relationship Harmony. And in addition to that, we also got Raziel with Spiritual Understanding, okay, for this month. So I have no doubt that these two cards, the Beloved One for us here in the United States certainly has to do, metaphorically speaking, with our president, okay? And Raguel is here with this relationship harmony message. And, Raguel is an overseer and an angel who helps us to harmonize relationships. So, and it has definitely been the message of our new president-elect, Joe Biden, that his intention is to help heal the divide. And the angels are working behind the scenes to help us with that. There is definitely... the movement is towards the energy of healing, as has been the message in their speeches, and healing the divide that is still there within the country. Right now, I think people are still, there are people who are still incredibly joyful and feeling an incredible sense of relief. And I'm sure there are some people who are just quietly, really not happy with it. Our country is still greatly divided that way. And so relationship harmony, these archangels are helping to oversee us. And because that's a lot of what's going to be worked on, needing to take place, etc. in our country to harmonize it again. And excuse me. Spiritual understanding, there's a higher, the dove of peace is sitting right on here, okay? And that may be a part of how the gap is getting bridged by people embodying a more spiritual understanding of one another. So we may not have agreed with someone's choice about their vote, but sometimes in curiosity, we can maybe say, well, what made you like this person better? What made you think this person was the better choice? And kind of bridging that divide a little bit. So, but I'm sure these angels are working with us on a more personal level too, because as I found as I work with these cards, there are multiple layers of meaning that they can have. And but seeing as we're looking at November, and these are the cards that came out, and especially as they reflect the ones that came out for last week, I am sure that's part of what the overseeing energy is going into, and that's what a lot of their meaning is for going into November. Healing that relationship, and the relationships in our country, okay, with all the different ethnicities that we have here. So now for Other cards outside of the archangels, I felt guided when I asked. The mermaids came up to me. And, maybe it's because the waters have been very turbulent. All of us, I think, as we went into election week here in the U.S. and around the world, I don't want to, discount other people in the world because the world was watching us. We all had there was so much tension. And, even if we were trying to get about our day in just a positive way, get through it, we all were feeling this underlying tension and pressure. In fact, I went to my doctor's for a physical and my blood pressure was up really high. And my doctor, it was unusual for me to have it, up that. And she just kind of jokingly said to me, Pat, everyone she'd seen that week, their blood pressure was up, especially given the events that have been going on in the world. So anyway, so I felt called to the mermaids, perhaps because, turbulent waters kind of thing. And there's a lot of fear energy that is still around it. There's a lot of relief that I sense, but there's also still some fear energy around what our current incumbent president may do or not do, and how these next few months until Biden gets inaugurated go. We kind of still had that uncertainty about whether it's going to go smoothly or whether there's going to be more drama and chaos. There may still be a little bit of both, which is, why we have these archangels helping us to work on that, working on relationship harmony and opening our hearts, et cetera, et cetera. So what's interesting is the card that came out from this lovely mermaid deck that I have, called just Oracle of the Mermaids, is Time and Tide. And it's really about the fact that it is time for the changing of the tide. It's going to be going in a different direction, okay? And what's interesting about that is it reminded me of the Lord of the Rings movie, the second one, and the Two Towers. And what's interesting about that is that this card of Archangel Raziel reminds me of Gandalf from that movie when he comes out and he says, he passed into spirit, but he's been brought back at this time at the changing of the tides, the turning of the tides. And so that's what this card, definitely. And what's interesting is she's drawing a heart in the sand, okay? And the tide that's changing is the tide of hate. And it's, time to bring in the energy of love and compassion. It's just that. And the fact that Kamala Harris is now going to be the first woman, not only just the first woman vice president, but the first woman of color, of immigrants, ethnic background, to reach such a high office in our nation. It's just groundbreaking. But that's part of the turning of the tide. There's more feminine energy that's coming forward to lead us in that more loving and compassionate way, okay? So the other mermaids cards that I picked from were, of course, from the Mermaid and Dolphin Oracle card deck. And we got for this month music for manifesting, because a lot of the theme is about healing. And music is very healing and uplifting. And so I have no doubt there's going to be probably a lot of songs written about this time by our many wonderful musical artists that are still living and with us. We've lost quite a few this past year and a half or so. So this particular card says music for manifesting. To manifest rapidly, think of your desire while you chant, hum, sing, or play music, because it lifts up the vibration. And so, we can do this while, in a joyful place and, thinking about peace, etc. We can use music to enhance that. So, but I feel like, the nation's going to be using music to uplift and heal. Also, we had the card come out for consult an expert. And I think what it signifies is that this month, you're going to see the return of the experts, and from a variety of different places. So even though Joe Biden and Kamala Harris have not formally been inaugurated yet, because they are now the president and vice president-elect, and things are moving forward in that direction, they're going to hit the ground running with getting their cabinet, their team of experts. I have no doubt they'll bring back the team of experts that was originally in place for help dealing with viruses and pandemics and things like that, which the Trump administration took away simply because Obama had put it in place. So you're probably going to see a return of those experts. And, I'm sure you'll see election experts, because as we know, President Trump has already challenged, the election results, and recounts will be called for. So you'll hear from a lot of experts about that. You'll probably see legal experts because, what I've sensed, and I've said this to many people, well, 2020 has been the year of the pandemic. 2021, I have no doubt, is going to be the year of the lawsuits. And it's probably going to start itself rolling now. But anyway, so you're going to hear from a lot of the experts. It's the return of the experts, and the scientific experts being brought back into play. Okay. So, and the other card that came out from us from these mermaids was alchemy. And it says, you have the Midas touch right now, and every project you begin turns to gold. So I just feel that this card one, I feel like it means prosperity is coming back. That may come in the form of, we may still get that stimulus payment that may come out. But also just with the sense of relief that's around, and the fact that the nation knows and the world knows that we're going to have a change in our government and newness come in. I feel like it's already going to start changing the markets, and we're going to see a return of prosperity, and in many areas. That's just what I feel or sense about it. It's like, new ideas will get put into play, new markets might open up, and the Midas touch is, Spirit and the angels are working with through our intellect. We might get great ideas, and as we follow through on them, it turns into prosperity, not just for ourselves, but for our nation. And so it's just symbolic of, again, that turning of the tide. Every project you begin, things that you start now, will be prosperous for you, okay? Or they'll have, long, very far-reaching effects in a positive way. So it's really nice. So that's what these cards are suggesting to me. Now, I was going to pull from this butterfly oracle card, and I had Archangel Michael out here. Okay. And this butterfly oracle card is about life transitions. So, and yes, I still use a lot of Doreen Virtue decks just because I still have them. I don't want to throw them out. I mean, they were made in the spirit of a love and service. And even though she's gone down an entirely different path now that would refute these things, I still like the messages on them. So I still tend to use them and get called to them at different times. Anyway, okay. Spiritual growth. Yeah, that's what this time is about. As we move forward, we have to let go of the old things that aren't serving us anymore, both personally, individually, and as a people, as a country, as a world. Spiritual growth is not always easy. And a lot of growth comes about through adversity. So that is that message about this month as we work with the angels to bridge it, and to bridge the gap, the divide in our country, and help to make these relationships harmonious. There's a lot of growth that has to come from that. Anyways, Archangel Michael, what is your message for us for the month of November? Now, November is our time here for Thanksgiving in the United States. And I'm certain that a lot of us are feeling, that there's still a lot to be grateful for, even despite all the stuff that's happened this year. Okay. Well, Michael says this is your life's purpose. And what's interesting in this card is that the angel has her hands around the earth. Okay. And I think the picture is most significant in that. So what I want to say about this card is that I think we all may be aware at some level that if we've been here during this time, during this very difficult time in our country, and we're still here, then it was part of our life purpose to help carry us as a nation and a country and a world through this time. That it was important for our energy, you, any one of you who are watching, any one of you personally who are here during this time, it was part of your life purpose to be here, okay? There was something that you had to lend to this time of growth for our country and our world, okay? It's, and, the angels, as I've done readings throughout, this year and this month, especially during these really difficult times, I always felt from them this message of this too shall pass. By this time next year, we'll be past a lot of this. I think we'll be past the larger part of COVID and the issues surrounding that by this time next year. And I think the country will be in a better place, although there's a lot of rebuilding that will need to get done. And, even though I've said this going to be, this feels like more prosperity coming, that doesn't necessarily mean, I think it's going to take a while for our country to rebuild its finances and get back on its feet that way. But anyway, Michael, is there any other message that you want to convey to us? No? Okay. Nothing else is jumping out from him. So I'm going to take that as the strongest, most important message that he has for us about it being, and it, when times are difficult and we feel like we're struggling, it's normal for us to wonder if we're really having any effect at all. It's normal for us to feel like we're not, like, why am I here? But like I said, this card is Michael letting us know that each and every one of us who are here in this time, in this year that is, brought an ending to a lot of things and new beginnings, it was important for our energy to be here. Between our day-to-day interactions with people, whatever lessons we learned, whatever positivity we contributed, it was part of our life purpose to be here during this time. Our energy was needed. And so be grateful for that. Know that you had a purpose in all of this. Even if you don't understand what it is, that's what Raziel brings his energy in for. Spiritual understanding about all of that. So anyways, those are some of the messages I have for November. I will be back on in a few with ones for this week. Okay? Take care, everyone. Thank you so much for watching.